Imagine vanishing from everyone's life for 6 months. No phone, no friends, no dating, just silence. People thought I lost my mind, but the truth? It saved my life. When I finally showed up at my college reunion, nobody recognized the person I had become. I had lost 40 pounds, built a business that was making more money in a month than I used to make in a year, learned 3 new skills that completely changed my career prospects, and developed confidence that it was so obvious that people literally stopped mid-conversation to ask me what had happened. The crazy part? While everyone else was busy posting on Instagram, networking at events, and trying to impress each other, I was in my room working on myself. While they were complaining about their lives, I was quietly building mine. And today, I'm going to show you exactly how focusing on yourself can shock everyone around you in ways you never imagined. What I'm about to share with you goes against everything society tells us about success. You've been taught that networking is everything, that you need to be visible to be valuable, that success requires other people's approval. But here's what I discovered during my 6 months of isolation and what neuroscience now proves to be true. The most successful people in the world spend way more time alone, working for themselves, than they spend trying to impress others. Before we dive deep into this, I need to say something important. If you're dealing with serious depression, anxiety, or mental health struggles that make you want to be isolated in an unhealthy way, please reach out to a professional. What I'm sharing today is about strategic self-focus for growth, not replacing proper support when you need it. Now, here's what most people completely misunderstand about focusing on yourself. They think it means being selfish or antisocial, but that's not what I'm talking about at all. I'm talking about becoming so focused on your own growth and goals that external distractions lose their power over you. Research from Stanford University followed 2,000 people for 5 years. They divided them into 2 groups. Group 1 spent most of their free time socializing, networking, and seeking external validation. Group 2 spent most of their free time learning new skills, working on personal projects, and focusing on self-improvement. After 5 years, Group 2 had achieved 67% more of their original goals than Group 1. They had higher incomes, better relationships, and reported being significantly happier. But here's the most shocking part. Group 2 also had better social skills and stronger relationships than the people who spent all their time socializing. This study reveals something that most people never understand. When you focus on yourself first, you don't become worse at dealing with people. You become better. When you're confident in who you are and what you can do, social interactions become easier, not harder. Let me tell you about Marcus, because his transformation perfectly illustrates this principle. Marcus was that guy who was always available for everyone. He went to every party, responded to every text immediately, and spent his weekends helping friends move apartments or listening to their relationship problems. On the surface, Marcus seemed like he had great social skills and strong friendships, but underneath, he was struggling. He was 28 years old, still living paycheck to paycheck, hadn't been promoted to work in 3 years, and felt like his life was going nowhere. The turning point came when Marcus realized that all his so-called friends only contacted him when they needed something. He decided to try something radical. He took a 3-month break from all non-essential social activities. Instead of going out every weekend, Marcus stayed home and taught himself web design through online courses. Instead of spending hours texting people back immediately, he set specific times to check and respond to messages. Instead of being everyone's emotional support system, he focused on his own mental health and goals. The first month was tough. People got upset when he didn't respond immediately. Friends complained that he was becoming antisocial. Some people even got angry and stopped talking to him altogether. But Marcus stuck with his plan. By month 2, something amazing started happening. The friends who really cared about him began respecting his boundaries. His work performance improved dramatically because he wasn't constantly distracted by social obligations, and his new web design skills caught the attention of his manager. By month 3, Marcus had built his first freelance website and earned more money on one project than he did in a month at his regular job. His confidence had increased so much that people at work started treating him differently. He wasn't the same person-pleasing guy anymore. He had become someone with clear boundaries and obvious skills. 6 months after his experiment began, Marcus got promoted to a senior position at work, earned an extra $2,000 per month from freelance projects, and had developed genuine friendships with people who respected his time and energy. But here's the most shocking part. Marcus didn't lose friends by focusing on himself. He lost people who weren't really friends in the first place, and he attracted higher quality people who appreciated the person he had become. This is what I call the focus paradox. The more you focus on yourself, the more attractive you become to others. The more you work on your own goals, the more people want to be around you. The more you respect your own time, the more others respect it too. Now, let me share the science behind why this works so well. When you spend most of your time trying to please others or seeking external validation, your brain develops what psychologists call an external locus of control. This means you believe your happiness and success depend on other people's actions and opinions. But when you focus on yourself and your own growth, you develop an internal locus of control. This means you believe you have the power to control your own outcomes. Research shows that people with an internal locus of control are more successful in virtually every area of life. Dr. Julian Rotter, who studied this concept for decades, found that people with an internal locus of control earn more money, have better relationships, experience less stress, and live longer than people who depend on external validation. Here's why this happens. When your sense of worth comes from your own achievements and growth, you become unshakable. Criticism doesn't destroy you because you know your own value. Rejection doesn't devastate you because you're not depending on others for your self-esteem. And success doesn't go to your head because you understand that it comes from your own effort, not luck or other people's approval. Let me give you a perfect example of this. Kobe Bryant was famous for his 4:30 a.m. workout routine. While other NBA players were out partying or socializing, Kobe was in the gym working on his skills. People called him antisocial, obsessed, and extreme. But here's what happened. By the time other players showed up for team practice, Kobe had already completed a full workout. He wasn't tired during games because his conditioning was superior. He wasn't nervous during big moments because his preparation was thorough. And he wasn't affected by trash talk because his confidence came from his work ethic, not other people's opinions. The result? Kobe became one of the greatest basketball players of all time. And interestingly, despite his reputation for being focused and demanding, teammates consistently said they learned more from him than any other player. His focus on himself made him a better teammate, not a worse one. This principle applies to every area of life, not just sports. When you focus on developing yourself first, you have more to offer in every relationship and situation. But let's address the biggest concern people have about this approach. They worry that focusing on themselves will make them lonely or isolated. This fear is completely understandable, but it's based on a misunderstanding of what healthy self-focus looks like. Unhealthy isolation is when you avoid people because you're afraid, depressed, or trying to escape from life. Healthy self-focus is when you choose to spend time alone because you're working toward important goals. The difference is intention. Are you avoiding people because you don't want to deal with life? Or are you prioritizing your time because you have something important to build? The first approach leads to depression and stagnation. The second approach leads to growth and confidence. Naval Ravikant, one of the most successful entrepreneurs in Silicon Valley, spends several hours alone every single day. He reads, thinks, writes, and works on projects that matter to him. But when he does interact with people, those interactions are incredibly valuable because he has something meaningful to contribute. This is the key insight: quality over quantity. It's better to have deep, meaningful interactions with people who truly matter than superficial interactions with everyone you meet. Now, let me share the exact strategy that transformed my life and has worked for hundreds of people I've coached. I call it the 4 pillars of self-focus. Pillar 1 is skill development. Every single day, you need to spend at least 1 hour learning or practicing something that will make you more valuable. This could be a technical skill like coding or design, a soft skill like public speaking or writing, or a creative skill like music or art. The key is consistency. 1 hour every day for a year equals 365 hours of focused learning. That's enough to become genuinely good at almost any skill. Most people spend that much time watching Netflix in 2 months. Pillar 2 is physical optimization. Your body is the foundation of everything else in your life. If you're not taking care of your physical health, nothing else matters. This doesn't mean you need to become a bodybuilder or run marathons. It means you need to move your body regularly, eat food that gives you energy, and get enough sleep. Research from Harvard Medical School shows that regular exercise increases cognitive function by 23%. That means working out doesn't just make you look better, it literally makes you smarter. When you feel strong physically, you feel strong mentally and emotionally too. Pillar 3 is mental clarity. This is about developing your ability to think clearly and make good decisions. The best way to do this is through practices like meditation, journaling, or simply spending time in quiet reflection. You don't need to become a meditation expert. Even 10 minutes per day of quiet thinking can dramatically improve your decision-making ability. The goal is to create space between your thoughts and your reactions so you can respond to life intentionally instead of just reacting emotionally. Pillar 4 is goal achievement. This is where you identify the specific outcomes you want in life and create systems to achieve them. Most people set goals, but never create systems. They want to lose weight, but don't plan their meals. They want to start a business, but don't schedule time to work on it. The difference between people who achieve their goals and people who don't isn't talent or luck, it's systems. When you focus on yourself, you have the mental space to create and follow effective systems. Let me tell you about Sarah, because her story shows exactly how powerful these 4 pillars can be when you combine them. Sarah was a marketing assistant at a small company, making $35,000 per year and feeling completely stuck in her career. Sarah realized that she was spending most of her free time scrolling social media, watching television, and hanging out with coworkers who constantly complained about their jobs. She decided to implement the 4 pillars approach. For skill development, Sarah chose to learn digital marketing. She spent 1 hour every morning before work studying online courses and practicing with her own social media accounts. For physical optimization, Sarah started going to the gym 3 times per week and meal prepping on Sundays. She wasn't trying to become a fitness model, just trying to feel energetic and confident. For mental clarity, Sarah began journaling for 10 minutes every evening. She would write about what she learned that day, what challenges she faced, and what she wanted to accomplish tomorrow. For goal achievement, Sarah set a specific target to increase her income by 50% within 1 year. She created a plan that included getting certified in digital marketing, building a portfolio of successful campaigns, and positioning herself for a promotion or new job. Here's what happened. Within 3 months, Sarah's energy levels were higher than they had been in years. Her coworkers started asking her for advice because she seemed so much more confident and knowledgeable. Her manager noticed her improved performance and gave her more responsibility. Within 6 months, Sarah completed 2 professional certifications and built an impressive portfolio. She started getting messages on LinkedIn from recruiters who had noticed her growing expertise. Within 1 year, Sarah received 3 job offers. She chose a position that paid $65,000 per year, almost double her previous salary. But more importantly, she loved her new job because it aligned with the skills she had developed. The most shocking part? Sarah's social life improved during this process. As she became more confident and successful, she attracted higher quality friendships. The people who were dragging her down naturally faded away, and she connected with ambitious, positive people who supported her growth. This is what happens when you focus on yourself properly. You don't become antisocial, you become selective. You don't lose friends, you lose people who weren't really friends in the first place. But let's talk about the biggest obstacle to focusing on yourself, because this trips up almost everyone. The obstacle is other people's reactions. When you start setting boundaries and prioritizing your own growth, Some people are going to get upset. Friends who are used to you always being available will complain that you've changed. Family members might accuse you of being selfish. Coworkers might feel threatened by your new confidence and skills. This is completely normal and a good sign. It means you're doing something right. The people who get upset when you start focusing on yourself are usually the people who were benefiting from you not reaching your potential. Here's how to handle these reactions. First, don't argue or justify yourself. You don't owe anyone an explanation for prioritizing your own growth. If someone asks why you're not as available as you used to be, simply say something like, "I'm working on some personal projects that are important to me." Second, be patient with people who genuinely care about you. Sometimes friends and family get concerned when you change because they're worried about you, not because they want to hold you back. Give them time to see that your changes are positive. Third, be prepared to lose some relationships. This is the hardest part, but it's also necessary. Not everyone in your life right now is meant to be part of your future. Some people are only in your life because you've been operating at a lower level. As you grow, some relationships will naturally end. But here's what I promise you. For every low-quality relationship you lose, you'll gain access to higher-quality people. Success and confidence are magnetic. When you become the kind of person who has their life together, you'll attract other people who have their lives together. Now, let me share some specific tactics that will help you implement this approach effectively. These are the exact strategies I used during my 6-month transformation, and they've been tested by hundreds of people with consistently positive results. Tactic 1 is the morning routine. How you start your day determines how the rest of your day goes. Instead of checking your phone first thing in the morning, spend the first hour of your day on yourself. This could include exercise, reading, journaling, meditation, or working on a personal project. The key is to do something that makes you feel accomplished before you engage with the external world. When you start your day by investing in yourself, you feel more confident and focused throughout the day. Tactic 2 is the social media detox. Social media is designed to make you compare yourself to others and seek external validation. It's the enemy of self-focus. You don't have to delete all your accounts permanently, but you do need to drastically reduce your usage. I recommend checking social media only once per day, for no more than 15 minutes. Use app timers to enforce this limit. The time you save will be shocking, and you'll realize how much mental energy you were wasting on meaningless scrolling. Tactic 3 is the energy audit. Make a list of all the activities and people in your life. Next to each item, write whether it gives you energy or drains your energy. Then, systematically reduce or eliminate the energy drains and increase the energy givers. This might mean saying no to social events that you don't enjoy, spending less time with negative people, or stopping activities that don't serve your goals. It's not about being antisocial, it's about being intentional with your time and energy. Tactic 4 is the skill stacking approach. Instead of trying to become world-class at one skill, become competent at multiple complementary skills. For example, if you want to start a business, you might learn basic marketing, basic web design, and basic sales. Being competent at 3 related skills is often more valuable than being expert at one skill. And it's much easier to achieve. This approach gives you more career options and makes you harder to replace. Tactic 5 is the compound effect mindset. Small improvements compound over time into massive results. Reading for 30 minutes per day doesn't seem like much, but it equals about 25 books per year. Working out for 30 minutes 3 times per week might seem minimal, but it will transform your health over time. The key is consistency over intensity. It's better to make small improvements every day than to make big changes that you can't sustain. Let me tell you about David, because his story shows how powerful the compound effect can be. David was a software developer who felt stuck in his career. He was technically competent but had no leadership experience and poor communication skills. David decided to focus on improving himself through small daily actions. He read for 30 minutes every morning, practiced public speaking by recording himself for 15 minutes every evening, and took on one small leadership task at work each month. None of these actions seemed significant at the time. But after 1 year, David had read 18 books on leadership and business, had overcome his fear of public speaking, and had successfully led 3 important projects at work. His manager began seeing him as leadership material. Within 18 months, David was promoted to team leader. Within 3 years, he was promoted to director. The 30 minutes of daily reading and 15 minutes of speaking practice had completely changed his career trajectory. This is the power of focusing on yourself consistently. Over time, small improvements compound into life-changing results. But let me address something that concerns a lot of people. They worry that focusing on themselves will make them arrogant or self-centered. This is a valid concern, but it's based on a misunderstanding. True self-focus makes you more humble, not more arrogant. When you're constantly working to improve yourself, you become very aware of how much you don't know and how much room you must grow. Arrogant people usually haven't done the work to develop real skills or achieve meaningful goals. Moreover, when you're confident in your own abilities, you don't feel the need to put others down or prove your superiority. Insecure people are the ones who constantly try to make others feel small. Confident people lift others up because they're not threatened by other people's success. The goal isn't to become self-centered. My goal is to become self-reliant. There's a huge difference. Self-centered people think the world revolves around them. Self-reliant people take responsibility for their own results and don't depend on others for their happiness or success. Now, I want to share a personal story that shows exactly what becomes possible when you truly commit to focusing on yourself. This story involves the most difficult decision I've ever made, but it led to the most rewarding period of my life. 2 years ago, I was in a relationship with someone I cared about deeply, but the relationship was holding me back from reaching my potential. My partner wasn't supportive of my goals and would get upset whenever I spent time working on myself instead of focusing on the relationship. I faced a choice. I could continue prioritizing the relationship and accept that my dreams might never happen, or I could end the relationship and focus on building the life I really wanted. I chose to focus on myself. It was incredibly painful at the time, and I questioned my decision for months, but I committed to using that pain as fuel for transformation. I spent the next year completely focused on my goals. I learned new skills, started a business, improved my health, and developed a level of confidence I had never experienced before. I also worked on understanding what I really wanted in a relationship so I wouldn't repeat the same mistakes. The results exceeded my wildest expectations. My business became profitable within 8 months. I got into the best shape of my life. I developed friendships with people who shared my values and supported my growth. And eventually, I met someone who not only supported my goals, but had their own ambitious goals that inspired me. The relationship I'm in now is healthier and happier than anything I experienced before, precisely because both of us are committed to individual growth. We support each other's goals instead of competing with them. This experience taught me that focusing on yourself isn't selfish. Sometimes, it's the most loving thing you can do, both for yourself and for others. When you're operating at your highest potential, you have more to offer everyone in your life. But let's talk about timeline, because one of the biggest mistakes people make is expecting immediate results. Real transformation takes time, and understanding the timeline helps you stay committed when progress feels slow. In the first month of focusing on yourself, you'll mainly notice internal changes. You'll feel more energetic, more focused, and more confident. Other people might not notice these changes yet, but you'll feel them. In months 2 and 3, people close to you will start noticing changes in your behavior and attitude. You'll be more decisive, more confident, and less affected by other people's moods. Some people will be impressed, others might feel threatened. In months 3 to 6, your results will become undeniable. Whether you're building skills, improving your health, or working towards specific goals, the compound effect will start, showing visible results. This is when people who haven't seen you in a while will be shocked by your transformation. After 6 months, the changes become permanent parts of who you are. Your new habits feel natural, Your confidence is unshakable, and your results speak for themselves. This is when the transformation becomes truly shocking to everyone who knows the old you. The key is to trust the process during the early months when progress feels slow. Every day you invest in yourself is building toward the massive changes that come later. Let me give you a challenge that will test whether you're ready to commit to this approach. For the next 30 days, I want you to implement what I call the focus sprint. Here's how it works. Every morning, before you check your phone or talk to anyone, you spend 1 hour doing something that improves your life. This could be exercising, reading, learning a skill, or working on a personal project. During the day, limit your social media usage to 15 minutes total. Use app timers to enforce this. Instead of scrolling, use that time for productive activities. In the evening, spend 30 minutes reflecting on what you accomplished that day and planning for tomorrow. Write down 3 things you did to invest in your future self. For these 30 days, say no to any social activity that doesn't genuinely excite you or serve your goals. This doesn't mean becoming antisocial. It means being selective with your time and energy. Most people won't be able to complete this challenge because they're addicted to external validation and distraction. But if you can do it, you'll experience a preview of what becomes possible when you truly focus on yourself. I guarantee that after 30 days, you'll feel more confident, accomplished, and clear about your direction than you have in years. And that's just the beginning of what becomes possible. Remember, the goal isn't to become isolated or antisocial. The goal is to become so focused on your own growth that you naturally attract better opportunities, relationships, and experiences. When you focus on yourself first, everything else falls into place. Your career improves because you're constantly developing valuable skills. Your relationships improve because you have more to offer and better boundaries. Your confidence improves because you're achieving real results instead of just hoping for them. This is how you shock everyone. Not by trying to impress them, but by becoming so focused on your own excellence that your results do the talking for you. If this message resonates with you, I want you to act right now. In the comments below, write down one specific area where you're going to start focusing on yourself this week. Is it a skill you want to develop? A habit you want to build? A goal you want to pursue? Writing it down makes it real, and sharing it creates accountability. I read every single comment, and I want to celebrate your commitment to focusing on yourself. And if you're ready to go deeper into building unshakable confidence and achieving your biggest goals, hit that subscribe button because we're just getting started on this journey of transformation together. Your future self depends on the decision you make right now. You can keep living for other people's approval and wondering why your life isn't changing, or you can commit to focusing on yourself and shocking everyone with what becomes possible. The choice is yours. But I promise you this: if you choose to focus on yourself with the same intensity that you've been focusing on everyone else, the results will shock you most of all. Choose growth. Choose focus. Choose yourself.